Today I'm going to take you a step further and talk to you about why so many manufacturers lately do not want to work with fashionpreneurs, startups, and small brands. So the reason for that is really simple. If you approach a factory not really understanding how the industry works, then that is immediately apparent to them. And what it says to them is that they would have to spend a lot of time teaching you how to prepare yourself, how to present your ideas, how to work with them. And that is time that they cannot charge you for. You have to understand that a factory makes money from working on a bulk production order, whether that's a few pieces or a large order, a large volume order. That is where they make their money. So sampling for a factory is not really a profitable endeavor, and teaching you even less so. They just simply cannot charge you for that. And probably they don't even want to, because their job is to manufacture, right? So when you send an email that is really vague, immediately from a mile, a manufacturer can spot the fact that you don't know enough about the industry, how to work with them, and you are most probably 8 out of 10 times waste their time. So what does a vague email sound like? Have you ever sent a factory an email saying, hey, so-and-so, I have an idea for something, can you do it? Well, to a factory, that means that you haven't taken the time to research, whether it's through their website or through other methods. You haven't really taken the time to research and find out what exactly is that they do. Because if you are looking to make a dress and you just approach a factory, that factory might be making, yes, dresses, but they might be a high-end factory, and you might want to be making a cotton dress that is like really cheap. So your vague email, the fact that you're not really explaining what stage you are, what you're doing, etc., says to the manufacturer, I haven't done enough work to research into you, to know what you're doing, but you let me know. You are basically putting the ball into their court to do the work. So this kind of spray and pray approach really is not working for manufacturers. And they are willing to perhaps lose that one person out of, let's say, 10 who might have a genuinely good idea and be prepared to work with them, and not spend time on the other 9 inquiries that they would be getting that are so vague and that would waste their time, amount to nothing, etc. And that is why they just, don't want to work with startups and small brands. So what can you do instead? Instead, send a brief email. Don't write a novel, because they equally don't have the time to read it. Very often the factory owner, and especially when you're a small brand and you're working with smaller factories, it is the factory owner who is actually reading and answering all of these emails. So send a brief email introducing yourself, mentioning your idea in a little bit of a detail, like what kind of material you're using. Tell them, have you got a pattern or not? Some factories can help you with that, some wouldn't, and they would rather that you developed your pattern and test your pattern with someone else externally and then come to them. But mentioning it in your email would give them an idea, and it would show them that you know what the process is. Tell them when you want it by. Yeah, is it like something you immediately urgently need, or would you like to plan some sort of production and book a slot with them? More and more factories, and especially the good ones that operate in a professional manner, they have a schedule to which they work. So you need to book their space in their schedule. And finally, also mention a little bit about the type of quantity you want to manufacture. Is it something that you're looking for just a few pieces or a bigger quantity? Because again, some factories have no minimums, and some factories actually even have a maximum order that they would take. So you really need to do your research and also mention that in that first email, so that if there's an interest with the factory, they straight away at a glance can see what you're trying to do, and they can see that you're serious because you've taken the time to research into them and present that information to them, and they would then reply back to you and take it further. Once you send the email, just follow up, call the factory, follow up. Don't just wait for them to call you. The magic always happens in the follow up. So follow up, see that they received the email, that it hasn't ended up in the junk or spam folder, and just take the conversation further. Finding a factory is a two-way process. It's like an interview. You have to assess them and they have to assess you, and you're looking for the match between the two of you in order to work together. So Assuming that you finally get to speak to a factory and there is an interest, you have a good feeling, and you want to continue further with them, you need to be ready. You need to have some, further work on your idea ready for you to immediately follow up with the next stage. And by that, I mean you need a flat drawing, just a sketch of your product, or perhaps a spec sheet, or, maybe you have already started creating a tech pack for yourself. If you go to our blog, fashioninsiders.co, there's a lot of information you would find there. What is a spec sheet? What is a tech pack? What is a flat drawing? So if you don't know, if you're just starting out and you don't know, you can find information there. But being ready with that information before you contact the factory means that you can very quickly react to that inquiry. Imagine they get so many phone calls. They would forget who you are. They're really busy. So you want to follow up immediately so that you're still fresh in their mind and you show them that you're eager, you're serious, you're ready. Once you have done this, then again, as you follow the steps, as you have a discussion, a follow-up phone call from having seen the drawing, can they do it, can they not? What type of machinery do they work with? Who else do they work with? You would slowly start finding out if this is the right manufacturer for you, if there's a synergy between you, if they can and will do what you want them to do. And the final, third element that is really important when you are looking for a manufacturer is the sense of urgency. What a lot of small brands and fashionpreneurs, especially those who are in the thinking stage, they haven't yet launched. The mistake they do is that they take their time. They rush the factory for reply, for response, but then they take their time to get back to the factory with what they said they would do. Or if they start sampling, it just takes forever. And again, like I mentioned earlier, a factory makes money from production, not from waiting around on your emails, not from sampling. So you need to show them that you're serious by being on it, by having a sense of urgency and replying fast, reacting to whatever they want fast. And vice versa, you have to expect that kind of response from them. If they are taking their time, not answering your emails and questions, etc., given that you've already spoken and established that perhaps there is a possibility for you to work together, that says something about the factory. Maybe that's how it will be later on. And you have to ask yourself, is that the kind of factory you want to work with? Someone who is not really reacting fast to your communication. So these are the main, obviously there's a lot more in detail that we can go into this, but these are the main really elements that will set you apart from those that really don't know and those that, really do, who are experienced and in the industry and don't really have a problem finding factories. So your lack of knowledge will show through the quality of your inquiries you do. So improve on your inquiries. And the preparation you put into your product, how fast you react to that inquiry with the information that the factory needs in order to know whether you're right to work with them or not, and how fast you react to everything. Is there a sense of urgency, or is this some kind of dream project that doesn't have an end time and it can just stretch into months and years, etc.? So I hope that helps. Third part of our training, we will focus on where to find factories, because the world is big. There's so many manufacturers around the world, and they all make potentially what you're looking for. But there's subtle differences between the manufacturer in one location to another that would make one better fit for you than another.